Hello, welcome back to your channel for Lockdown Positivity. Today we have a super special guest, which is Nikki Johnston, a celebrity photographer, a marvelous and fabulous celebrity photographer who has taken the time to be here with us and talk a little bit about his work and, well, what it is to be a celebrity photographer. Welcome to the studio, Nikki.
Thank you, Molly. Nice to see you.
Nice to see you. How are you these days?
Really well, thank you. Yes, and yourself?
Yes, I'm good. Well, you know, in the castle, in Windsor Castle.
Well, exactly. You are the queen of all queens.
Enjoying ourselves.
Coming from me, that's something.
Yeah. Which, by the way, as a little welcome, I wanted to toast with you and give you a little glass of bubbly.
Oh. Clearly alcoholic, Molly. How about the coffee? You're on the Sauvignon.
It's a pleasure to have you with us. And I was wondering if you would like to talk to us a little bit about how your career as a celebrity photographer started.
Well, I didn't start doing celebrities. I started doing still life, assisting with doing Marks and Spencer's bedding with this guy. It was my first job after uni. And it was like, oh, beyond tedious, you know, tying bits of fishing wire around duvets to make them look like they floated.
Oh,
and I just remember it was just like the most boring thing. And I hated him. He was a horrible man. And one day after about 6 months, I told him to shove his job and his colour armour up his arse, and he still out. And then I'm walking round Hyde Park, as where the studio was, thinking, I don't know what the hell I'm going to do now. And a friend of mine worked at the BBC, and she said, she was head of graphics there, and she said, Nikki, go and do some pictures of the American embassy for me. I need them for Panorama tonight. And I was like, oh my God, I don't know how to do that. She said, of course you do. It's just a picture of a building.
Yes.
So I did that, and then I started working for the BBC, doing the news pictures. You know, they'd say, go to Bethnal Green, there's a fire, and we need the pictures back in an hour for the news.
And then off you went with your bicycle?
Well, can you imagine? I had no idea where Bethnal Green was, and there was no sat-nav in those days, so it was like pretty stressful. That's when I started smoking. I was so stressed. And then I got a job at the BBC then. There was like, God, it's how times have changed. At that time, there was 12 staff photographers.
Oh, wow.
All doing different things. So it was incredible. So I worked on all sorts of different programs. And then they'd say, oh, go and do some new portraits of Sir Robin Day or David Dimbleby, and I'd spend time with them in the studio. So it was then that I started doing pictures of celebrities, really. That's where it started. As
you were starting, did you ever feel starstruck at the beginning, or do you still feel starstruck?
No, never really. I mean, I remember the first...
to be honest, they should feel starstruck by meeting you, right?
I'd probably shout at them if they weren't starstruck. But no, they were. It was. I remember my first job in a studio, and it was, and I hadn't really worked with a big team, stylist, hair and makeup, in a studio outside of the BBC, and everyone was just chatting. I thought, oh, this is great, And then suddenly, the celeb was on set, and I suddenly realised that I had to do the talking now. Nobody else, like, you know, when you're on set, the stylist and the hair and makeup don't talk to the celeb when they're being shot. Really, do they? It's not. And I thought, oh, it's my show now. I've got to talk and make them laugh. And it was like, oh, and that was the only time I was a bit like, oh, this is what you have to do. Yes. It was weird. It was a very strange feeling.
Oh, well, I guess making them feel comfortable as well, no? Because obviously taking a picture of celebrities, you know, they always want to look at their best, and they look at their best, but putting that on a photo, that is difficult, no? Because
I think the difficult thing is people think, oh, people who are on television or in film, it must be easy for them. And it's actually the opposite. Meet somebody who absolutely loves that medium, you know, sitting there in a studio.
Yeah.
Because they're normally playing a character, or they're moving, you know, they're talking, they're moving. This is a totally different medium.
Yeah.
So most people don't like having their pictures taken. And sometimes you can see the fear as the studio door creaks open. and they looking at this sea of faces of people they've never met before. And there could be up to 20 people there, you know, on shoots.
Yes.
Stylist assistants, hair, makeup, you know, the client, the PR, you know, there's always a big team. So my first, they go up to the minister, they said, oh, come in, we'll have the music on.
Yes.
And do you want a coffee? And what do you want to eat? And just try and take them out of that moment that they were in 10 seconds ago.
You are very good at it, because I've seen your work. You can tell the people always really look natural and very happy, you know, and I think that is something, an ambient that you are that you successfully create always.
I think it's just creating an atmosphere or chatting about something that they can relate to, or I don't know, making a joke of something, or God knows what comes out my mouth half the time.
That is true. That is true. It's mostly rage.
People are shocked. That's a lot of rage comes out.
Nikki, and you've also been working on, well, you've been part of the judging panel of Britain's Next Top Model. How has that been?
Oh, fab. It's such fun. I mean, who wouldn't want to get paid to rage on people? It's fabulous.
The perfect job. The perfect
job for me. No, it was great fun. I did 3 seasons of it. And I'd always done something on Top Model, and then they asked me to come back and be a full-time judge. Yeah, well, it's such a fun show to work on, because these girls are actually getting really good advice, not just from us, but from all the industry professionals that they meet.
Yeah.
You know, so, I mean, some of them are amazing, some of them are terrible. That's what it's about, isn't it? It's about thinking you can be a model, and then the reality of it, which a lot of them used to say, is it's actually so much more difficult than I ever imagined it would be. It's not the same thing. It's not something I want to do anymore.
Yeah.
And for others, it becomes an addiction and they love it.
Yeah.
So it's great seeing that transition from these girls that walk in on day 1 to the end of, you know, the season where we're abroad somewhere.
Yes.
You know, and they look incredible and they're confident and...
Yeah. I love that. I love to see that journey, as they call it, as well.
But yeah, the journey, which is a word I've always hated. And, you know, if anybody says on a show, and I'd just like to tell you about my journey, I'm usually sick in my own mouth. You know, so it's always a word I always avoid, the word journey. It's so toe curling.
Talking of journeys, in your journey, in your professional journey.
Oh, where's the delete button? How do I stop this?
How is it different to photograph models from celebrities? Is there any, because obviously models, you know, they go into magazines and they need to show their the fashion, right? That's what the main thing is, really. And with celebrities, you're photographing the persona. So how is it? How do you find it different?
Oh, it's so different. It's so different. Usually with models, unless you're doing a plus size range, you know, they are incredibly tall, incredibly thin. Everything looks incredible on them. Yeah. When in reality, most people, i.e., you know, normal people who aren't models, aren't like that. You know, they're 5'3", they're probably not happy with their weight, you know, they've probably got eye bags and not mad on their hair. Oh.
Let's stop the rant a little.
Was I getting a bit ragey?
Yes. let's compose each other again. So Nikki, what do you say? You have really photographed everyone on the small screen from British television, or is there someone you would love to photograph still?
No, I haven't, Molly. And obviously, you never photograph everybody. I mean, obviously, a lot of people I've photographed and worked with, and you forget how many people. But no, there's only really one person that I would always love to have photographed, and that was Elizabeth Taylor. Of course, she's dead now.
Oh, yes. Yes.
And I remember coming down to London to go to uni, and she was in the West End in Little Foxes. And I adored her then, and I couldn't afford a ticket.
Oh,
and
my
tickets
God.
were something like £120, and I was a student, and that was like £10,000 then.
Yeah.
And I was desperate to go and see her, and I never saw her in that. And I think that was her last stage performance, I think, that she ever did.
Oh.
But she was someone who was just, you know, a complete diva, but you would totally allow her to be the diva that she is. She
Of course.
deserves to be the
Yes.
bitch from hell if she wants to be.
Well, she and yourself, I would say.
Love that.
So moving back to photography, since you were talking a little bit about when you started, and obviously now you are a very celebrated photographer. So how has it changed, do you think, as well, adding the social media and Instagram? You're a Instagram poster as well, and you share with all of us, your followers, your work. How has it changed for you, photography?
It has the only way it's changed for me because of Instagram, for example, and camera phones. I mean, which I think are a fantastic thing, and you can do some incredible pictures on them. It's happened on a few occasions where a client will maybe take a picture of something on the studio on their iPhone or whatever, and then I'll do my picture, like the proper picture, and they say, "Oh, it doesn't look like my iPhone one."
All right. So what do you do?
Well, you know, you just have to politely, you know, try not to rage. And the other thing I notice, especially with models, is that, you know, not so much now, but I think 5 years ago, so the pouting thing became such a thing with models on Instagram.
Yes. Yes,
And
but not only with models, also with everyone.
yes,
Just everyone, and that is a bit of a shame.
you know, but they're the only two things that's really changed: the pouting thing, really, and people comparing pictures on iPhones or.
And for yourself, do you feel that because of social media, you can show your work much more, and or it has expanded much more because of it?
Yeah, I think it's an important part of being a photographer, or really whatever industry you're in. I think it's a nice platform, especially Instagram. It's just a nice format in which to show pictures, and that's the joy of it, isn't it? You know, people put up
visual,
the most.
It's just visual. And
it's just a visual thing, and I think it's lovely, and I like the format of it. So I think that's an absolute joy, because otherwise, where would you show those pictures?
Yeah, exactly. Especially now during lockdown. I mean, I think we were chatting earlier on the phone, and the last time I saw you was already last year. We haven't seen each other this year because of the pandemic. But how has it been for you during the pandemic as a photographer?
Well, obviously the first lockdown was horrendous, but I did a few things. I came up with an idea to do drive-by shootings, which is shooting from my car window of celebrities outside their homes.
Oh, yes.
So I did that for a couple of weeks, and that was fun. It was also quite scary because I was the only person on the M4.
Oh, God.
And I didn't actually get out the car. I literally drove into their pathways, or drove into their gardens if I could get the car in, and leant out the car window.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I saw some of those pictures that you also have obviously put on Instagram. Do you wanna give us your account name, so for all my viewers to also follow you on Instagram?
Oh, it's Nikki Johnston, Nicky. I think there's a couple of Nikki Johnstons, but it's Nikki Johnston. Yeah, there's some of those videos of the drive-by thing. So that was a fun thing. So that took 2 weeks. And then, of course, we just went into nothing for however long it was. Was it 3 months?
I do look forward when all this is over and we can actually have a bubbly together, person to person.
I know.
You can drink your coffee. You can continue drinking your coffee. I'll be continuing with my little bubbly.
Yes, you carry on there. Oh, it was lovely chatting to you.
Oh, it was adorable chatting to you. I miss you lots. And I miss your energy. I miss your rage, not so much, but I love you. I love spending time.
I'll be raging on you soon, Marlene. Don't you worry.
Anyway, thank you for your time, and we look forward, all of us, to see you back again on the screen with Top Model, and we look forward to continue following you on Instagram, and and we love your work. Well, I love your work, and it's very sweet of you that you took your time to talk to.
Oh no, it was lovely. Thank you for asking.
Yes, my pleasure.
Bye.
Bye.